Public Art Committee of the City of Tarpon Springs. It's Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m. And we are in the City Hall second floor media room. Megan, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Toth.
Here.
Ms. Christopoulos.
Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Ms. McGrath.
Yeah.
Ms. Arbitello.
Here.
Ms. Taylor.
Here.
Ms. Rupp-Calvis.
Here.
Chair Jennings.
Here. And I just wanted to make note that Library Director Carrie Rupp-Calvis is here in place of Diane Wood. So, welcome, Carrie.
Thank you.
Okay, starting with old business, we have our current project updates. The Black Heritage Project. Yes,
You want to have him first? Sorry.
that's right. Okay. I was just going to make a comment, but go ahead. We're going to go out of order to accommodate Brandon. Brandon Grock, please step up to the plate here.
Hello, my name is Brandon Grock. I'm the Marketing Operations Manager for Tarpon Arts, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have about the Google Maps public art project that I've been assisting on.
Well, I did take a look at it, and I guess my only comment is I looked at it on my phone, and the icons are really microscopic, and some of them kind of overlap. I was wondering if, probably can't do anything about that with the constraints of,
Well, you can do the pinch and zoom
Right.
feature to zoom in, and then that would make the icons larger.
Right.
But since the locations are so close geographically,
Right.
when you're zoomed far out and you're looking at an aerial overview of the town, they do tend to overlap. But you can absolve that by zooming in, and the closer you get, the further apart they would be.
Right.
But as far as your default view, when you click on the link, that's what you're gonna see. It's just
Right.
the general area. Basically, what Google Maps does is it kind of it will take an average kind of snapshot that would include all of the locations that are listed on that particular map, and then it will format that map the best it can to include all of the items that
Right.
are listed. So, and Tarpon being a small town, that's kind of just a side effect of
Right.
also the amount of art that we have too.
okay. Nick, do you have any comments?
So this is what we're looking at, correct? The squares here? And
So yes,
And
that
so
is the page before the
for the
map.
thing,
Yeah.
so you basically touch on one of them and go to, Oak Call for Artists, touch on this, About Us, and, okay, I see illuminated art boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect there'd be a map to hit on to go to the places where we have public art.
Yes.
And then I guess there'll be a place to where you touch and actually see the different
Mm-hmm.
things we have here as public art, yeah.
Yes.
He's working on the Google Maps right now.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is the part that we're.
That's how it
looking
will
at.
work.
Yeah.
So one of the
This
boxes
page.
on that page should say Public Art Location Guide.
Right.
And then if you were to click that map, then it would take you through to
And
the
show you the
Right, so
pieces.
you'll- yeah,
Right,
you'll-
that was
you'll
the
click
image I was
on-
talking about, about
And
being,
then it'll take us,
the
and
icons
then
being
we'll see
small
what
on the phone.
Oh, on that initial image?
Yeah.
Like, we can change that to whatever we like.
May I?
Well, I was gonna go down the
Okay.
road, but, Viva, do you have any?
Well, I'm just kind of looking through it right now. Yeah, I mean, and these photos can be updated, whenever
Okay,
we want them to, right? So like, if we get better photos of the art, we can update that. I mean, it's not that small. You can kind of see what.
oh, yeah, no, I was talking about the.
Oh, you were
these
talking
little-
about that?
I
one thing.
misunderstood you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, yeah, I misunderstood you too, so.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to really fiddle with it, but, Okay, you can add subsequent photos, I'm seeing, okay. And so the overview is what we need to create as far as the, description. 'Cause
Yeah,
right
and I had
now-
added descriptions that were given to me by Diane Wood. I guess it's whatever you maybe have on your records for each of the public art pieces. So
Right.
we just used the general descriptions, which was typically the artist's name, the year of the installation if it
Right.
was available, and then a short text block description.
okay, Graham?
Yeah, first of all, to address what you were concerned with, Joan, if I may, if you touch the map is like a photograph of a map. It's not really a map. If you hit the map, then it takes you off to, eventually, to a Google map. But you sometimes, depending on the time of day, the phase of the moon, and a couple of other variables that I have not yet been able to determine, sometimes you go through the other part of the Tarpon website, and you go to another page which also has a photograph of the map. And eventually you will get to a Google map where the pinch and zoom works. If you start doing that before then, it is a complete waste of your time because all you're doing is expanding blurry images. Apart from that, I'm very impressed with the work that you did. I really like it. I think it's
Thank you.
great, it's a great little project, and I thank you for that. And now it's up to us to expand it. And I think that one of the main ways that we could expand it fairly readily is to try to obtain artist statements about each piece. Maybe, you know, some of the committee or one of the committee could take responsibility for doing that, and get that included. And, you know, perhaps other photographs as well. But yeah, I think it's great. I love it.
Thank you. And just to make a comment about why you have to click through the 2 pages. So first you would click on the public art tab, and then you would go to the page that Nick had printed out and showed us with the 4 boxes, and
Right.
one of them being the public art location guide. You would click that, and then there's a little text description that says, you know, please click on the map below to view the Tarpon Springs Public Art Location Guide. So last time I was here as part of my presentation, we had talked about doing what's called embedding the map into the page, where the actual functioning Google map that you could zoom in and out of would be on that web page. It was not aesthetically very pleasing. The formatting that I created when I built the map in Google Maps was not carrying over exactly how we had built it. The colors weren't the same. It wouldn't show the same limited background. It was showing the full satellite view. So I was looking into why that was happening, and I believe we need to get a license from Google to use customizable features on our website. So our web hosting company, Technology Therapy, are looking into that for us. So once we hear back from them, we could get some sort of information on pricing and different available options. But aesthetically, it was ugly to,
Right.
you know, and this is public art, and we want it to look appealing, and we want people to,
Right.
you know, want to engage with it and not be turned off when they see this box that is, you know, it just had some limitations that we didn't like. So that's why, at least in this initial stage, we chose to go with the double click through first to the public art pre-page,
Right.
and then click through to the actual map. So that's just a little background on why it
Right.
is currently
Yeah.
formatted. You know, I didn't want to put it up there as a representation of the committee and the city and myself. And, you know, just like I said, I personally, and Diane as well, we just didn't feel that it was what we wanted to put out there at the moment,
Right.
you know.
But,
think-
you know, the main thing was, I just love it when you get there. It's just entertaining getting there.
Yes. Why am I clicking through again? Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. But that is why it is the way it is now.
Right. Sonia?
Yeah, Brandon, I must say thanks for all the effort you did put into this. It's, for me, it was easy to navigate. I don't know if it's because I already do Google Maps on my phone. So I mean, I got there pretty easy, and I don't know, I was pretty impressed that for me it was so easy. But we have to take everybody into consideration. But I agree with Graham. We can obviously expand on this, get the artist statements, and we can add more photographs. But I think this is a very good foundation to start off with. So, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for your trouble.
You're welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Dawn?
Yeah, I will say that when I was doing all the research, Google Maps was definitely one of the ones that we talked about. It just that at the time it felt like a lot of heavy lifting since we don't have a staff.
Right.
But I think what you've done is great. I poked around on it. I liked, when I first saw, I was like, oh my gosh, all those things are, but I clicked on one of them, and then on the side came up a clickable list of each item,
Right.
which I thought was great. I just wanted to make sure that we are able to add videos as well as photos to each of those. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
Photos, absolutely, and I believe it's unlimited.
Okay.
But video, I haven't tried yet.
Okay.
So I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. I'd like to know, because we were talking about getting community feedback, and I think that would be a lot easier to get community feedback. Or just, people visiting, if they could leave a post or, whatever, we'd probably be a lot more likely to get videos, and I think we'd get a better response to videos. But if it's not possible, we can do something else. But that was one question. Also, is there a way to, because I can see this not just being art committee art, but all the art that's around Tarpon Springs, is there a way to have like a list of all the art and then maybe separate out the art committee stuff? Is that something that we would be interested in doing, kind of as a promotion for what we do, or what?
Well, first, I'm sure Carrie's sitting over there for an answer, but, one of the first things you have to deal with, of course, is copyright, and permissions and, all of that. If something is, privately held, you have to get, the permission, like if you wanted to put, some work by Lipa Ratner, or even put, I'm sure you could put the museum, but if
Right.
you wanted to feature certain works, you might need various
I
permissions.
mean, it is public, but, it's in the public realm, right? So,
It gets dicey. I
Pieces of
mean,
art in there are not public, they're copyrighted.
Yeah, I think we might stick a head into a hornet's nest, maybe.
okay, so
I
so
think-
what I'm hearing is we're just gonna do the PAC
Right.
sponsored art. We're not gonna map just every bit of art.
right. That's one of the
Okay.
reasons why all of our installations are on city property.
Right.
So, it runs into, all kinds of issues. I know many, many years ago, they wanted to put a mural on the side of the Fackless building, and that just created all kinds of issues. So,
Okay.
it's, when I was doing the photography full-time, I sat on a, copyright committee. And it got all of these nuances, and it's only gotten more complex with digital imaging and AI
Right.
and everything else. So you have to kind of tread lightly, a lot of it is available, but can
So
you
as an
use it?
individual, I can take a picture of a mural that I'm like, oh, hey, look what I saw, but
General rule of thumb is
us as a
whoever,
government entity type
Right.
thing, we can't.
right, whoever
Gotcha.
clicks the shutter automatically has copyright. Whatever you take a photo of yourself, even if it's, the logo or anything, the photograph itself is automatically copyrighted by the maker,
Gotcha.
okay? However, if somebody wanted to use that image, they might not know you hold copyright. So if you have something that's, like newsworthy or something that's really spectacular, then you'd go to the copyright office and have it formally copyright.
Gotcha.
Then,
Okay.
but you'll see, a lot of artists or photographs, sometimes they will have, when they batch process their work, they'll have, I'm sure you know this, they'll embed a copyright.
Yes. a lot
Yeah,
of people
the
do that.
watermark, yeah.
Right, the watermark
Not
copyright.
even just the watermark, it's embedded into the file.
Oh,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And the metadata? Got it.
Yeah.
So, to extend
just
on
a
that a
minute.
little,
Katie, do you have a comment?
Well, I was gonna ask on that, on her question, would an individual artist, would us as a government entity be able to get a waiver from each individual artist if they wanted to promote their their artistry through the city? Can you get an individual waiver from each one of those artists?
You could. The thing is that if you go back and look at the ordinance, when we commission or purchase an art, the city automatically owns it. And then, like with the Naiads and the Story Time, the sculptor Glenna Goodacre has passed away. So I'm sure she's got a trust or an estate or something like that that would, deal with her copyright or permissions. But as I said, I think right now, just to not burden Brandon further, I think we should just stick with our own projects.
Okay.
Also, we're
my
clicking
other
through
question-
Tarpon Arts website to get there, so that's something that is, just by definition, we're showing what the city is involved in. You can't just randomly put everybody's art and have it come through the city website. It doesn't.
Right.
Right.
that
Well, and I
doesn't
think
really make sense.
that was one of the things that we talked about months and months ago when we first started talking about this, was it would be nice to be able to have an art walk, not just for our art, but the art in Tarpon Springs, and having it go through the city website might put certain restraints on that and blah, blah, blah. But I think this is a fantastic start, and the things that I'm thinking about are probably years down the road. So I think this is a fantastic start of getting what we've worked on, and I'm sure that's gonna take us months and months just to get all of
Right.
that up there, particularly if we're adding more photos and comments and stuff like that. The only other thing is related to the video, and are people going to be able to leave comments?
Yes.
Like just random, somebody goes to it and they can leave a comment?
Yeah, and they can already do that. They can contribute photos, comments, reviews. They can share it. It's a live public Google map. at the moment
Fantastic.
already.
So we don't have to have somebody that gets the comments and reviews it and puts it on there.
I mean, you can. I could give
I
anyone
don't-
access if you did want it. If someone on the
Yeah.
committee was interested, you could all have it. But right now,
Yeah.
it goes to the Tarpon Arts Gmail account that created and owns the map.
Okay. Well, I think my vision of it, and, everybody can say if they agree with this or not, but my vision would be kind of organically to have people be able to comment. However, I would like to, if somebody gets all snarky or, inappropriate, we have the
The
ability
moderator.
to moderate it, to hide it or whatever.
Or is there a way to flag, certain terminology or?
I don't know if there is, there are, I guess, censor kind of technologies like that. I know Facebook has that. You can have auto responses and have certain types of messages go to certain folders. But with Google Maps, I'm not sure. I'd have to find out and get back to you.
Well, what I just don't want is for us to have to approve every single comment. We just
Right.
don't have the personnel for that and the bandwidth. So if we can get we can put out there saying, hey, look around and make your comments. I think that would be a really great way to get the community involved and visitors to put it out there, and us not have to go through each individual one. But I think it is important that we have some sort of moderation on it, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, just to make sure,
Right.
we don't have anything untoward on there.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brandon, I had one other question for you. Are you gonna, I mentioned it before, I don't know if you had a chance to do it, to add the Black Heritage Project that's on the corner of Gross and MLK? Will that be added to your map?
Onward and Upward, I believe it's called. Yeah, it's on there.
On there already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well as Steven's other piece on the docks with the rendering. They're both listed on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
Thank
was
you.
called Forward.
And the Rudy thing.
Yeah, and Rudy's on there as well.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
should-
saw Rudy on there.
It should be up to date with all of the public art projects, I think, to this point.
Right.
Okay,
At least the ones that I was provided.
okay.
May I revisit now?
Yes, and then I just noticed I forgot to get the minutes approved. I'm very tired. Go ahead.
Sorry. I noticed that the Icaria piece is not there, and I assume that's because it was a private project done instead of a contribution to the Public Art Committee Fund.
I don't know the
That's
story behind it.
true,
Yeah.
but the thing is that the city still owns it. So that's something that has to be, looked at.
Yeah.
Well, and it's possible that Diane just said, okay, here's a chunk, let's see what that looks like, and we've got a lot more to add. I
Right.
find it hard to believe we've added all that stuff, and, unless that's all you've been doing for the last month, there's a lot.
No, I mean, it was not on the list, I could tell you, because I know which piece you're talking about, which is the housing complex.
Yeah, the
down-
apartment complex,
Yes,
yeah.
right, I know exactly where, and yeah, that was not included on the list, but I can easily add it. Any additions are
Right.
pretty simple at this
I think
point.
that was the only one
Yeah.
in my memory that was done on private property in lieu of, you
Yeah.
know, and, you know, that actually came up when we were looking to update the ordinance. We made it a lot tighter, so
Yeah.
this
Is
wouldn't
that-
happen again.
Because that was a significant contribution to the artscape,
Right,
if I
of
may call
course.
it that.
Yeah.
Of Tarpon Springs. And so I think it should be included if there's a way to do it without
Right.
upsetting anyone.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at all the paperwork and see, you know, what's happening with it. But,
Thank you.
yeah, I remember we even interviewed the artist. She came to the public art meeting. Okay.
So I do have one more question. As far as the maintenance and future additions and all that kind of stuff to the Google map, do we know how that's going to be taking place?
I mean.
Is
for
it going
the-
to be handled through your thing and submit it to you, or is it something that we're going to handle, or what?
If I could make a recommendation on how I would like, I'm happy to continue doing it. You know, it's built, it's established, and at this point, the heavy lifting is over. You know, now, like you said, it's maintenance and tweaking things as needed. But you know, the photos definitely matter. I don't know if any of you who looked at it noticed that some of the photos, when you're not maximizing it to a full screen, they crop it in interesting ways. Like Alma's head is cut off in Craig Park, and there's a few others that are just don't look quite right. And then when you click on the image, it then displays
Right.
the full screen image uncropped. You know, so the photo matters that we choose to display, and it tends to be better if you have a photo from further back and not a really close-up shot, because then once it gets
Right.
formatted in that preview mode, it only, you know, focuses on a very specific part of the image. And there's a few that, you know, aren't doing them justice. It's cropping off heads, it's cutting off pieces of the artwork. Like I said, once you click on the image, it will display the full picture. But in the preview mode, you know, we just gotta be careful. So, you know, when you are submitting additions to the list, you know, a picture that's a bit further back maybe would be better. And, you know, we can always add additional photos too.
Right, and there's still text we're working on for the different
Yes.
pieces, but that would be an easy.
Can I ask a question about the photos?
Sure.
So is there a way to adjust where that box is previewing on some
No,
things? You
I
can say, okay,
yeah,
I'd rather have that.
unfortunately not in the not
Okay,
in
because
the
I was planning on
preview.
working on slowly over the summer, since I have a little more time doing, you know, better photos of the
Right.
stuff as I can and get around town. But yeah, I just didn't know if there was a way to adjust that, so.
Not in
so
the
a
initial
little
preview
further
mode.
back,
Right.
okay. Does it tend to take the top or the bottom, do you realize? Is there
It
like a-
tends,
Well, in the middle.
from my memory, it tends to push it down.
Push it
At least
down.
on the ones that we've had issues with,
Yeah, I'm
like
kinda
the
afraid
heads
that
are getting
notice.
cut off
Okay.
of statues. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I know on like YouTube, you can take a thumbnail and you say, this is the preview that I want to have. Does it have a
That's what I
feature
was
like that where
asking.
we could take the proper
No,
sizing? No.
unfortunately not. So what it does is you'll upload your initial image, and you know you can upload infinite numbers of pictures for any of our locations. But the one that is displayed first in the order of the order of photos, that's going to be taken and used as your preview. And it must use some sort of AI or general formatting to then make it fit the box that
Sure.
is then the preview photo.
Right.
Right.
You know, and
So
if
we
you-
could just make sure that we provide the properly
Yes.
formatted, the size and,
All right, so
and,
maybe the first photo
aspect
just
ratio.
is just the size of the preview.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that, and I would be happy to go through and manually crop those,
I
you know,
can do
to
that. If
whatever
I'm gonna take the
size we
photos,
need.
I might as well.
Yeah,
size
or-
them.
yeah.
I can-
Take their heads off, yeah.
I can take their heads off myself.
And then I did have one more request, kind of recommendation. So with the text formatting as well, it's very hard to format the text inside of the input box
Right.
in Google Maps. You know, it's very tricky to get even the simplest thing like adding a space between paragraphs, right? Because, you know, it'll look fine in the description box, then you click save, and then, you know, you have double indents and triple spaces. It's very strange. I don't understand it, but it's very tricky to get right. So if you could send me the text in whatever formatting you would like it displayed in with the space, you know, the proper
rich
spacing.
text.
Right.
Yes, and then if I copy and paste it from a Word document into the box, it seems to display fine.
Right.
But if I have to format it in the actual text box,
Right.
it's a disaster. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So those two, they're both kind of formatting issues with the copy, you know, the descriptions, and then the actual photography that's going to be displayed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, everybody happy with this? Thank you very much, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
all.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your
Appreciate all
hard
the
work.
Yeah.
Okay, Joan the idiot missed the approval of the meeting minutes. I trust everybody had a chance to read them. Can I get a motion to accept?
There was a
Motion to
mistake.
accept? Motion to accept?
So moved.
Thank you. No, you move to accept?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Nick. So moved. Okay, now make your correction.
Oh,
You have to-
okay, I
yeah.
see. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to find it here somewhere in this pile, but it referred to, on the Rudy project. It had there, you know, in the Dorset Park project here on number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just said April 27th at the Dorset Park Rudy Dorset celebration. So it was kind of, the
gotcha.
wording was confusing. It's, you know, it's
Right.
Calvin Rudy Royal is who that was
Right.
for, but yeah, I saw that. And
Okay, so so it should be Dorset Park Rudy Royal Celebration.
Rudy Broyle.
Get that,
Oh, yeah.
Megan? Okay. Good catch, Nick.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think that was it.
Okay. All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes as amended? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, minutes accepted as amended. Okay, the Black Heritage Project update and signage. Because there's been so much back and forth with Stephen and everybody else, an executive decision was made by City Manager LaCouris that from going forward, the project will be overseen by the city. So it's City Manager LaCouris and his second in command at the moment, which is Fire Rescue Chief Scott Young. So all of Stephen's reports and updates have been going through them, okay? So, Diane and I were CC'd on the last communication. Stephen went over to the CAP Center location and finished filing down the sharp edges that were an issue. And that seems to be resolved to everybody's satisfaction. And he indicated that the sponge docks installation would be finished by the end of May. So I think we should all have a huge party when it's done.
Yes.
Okay, this has only been dragging on for 4 years. Okay. The signage, I don't know why this ended up back in here, but to the best of my knowledge, the simple signage was approved. Does anybody have any?
I believe you're correct.
Right, okay. So Megan, if you could just make a note of that to make the, have the sign made with that, just the, the art, pretty much what Brendan said, the art, the artist, the installation.
Like the white signs by the cat and
Right,
the,
right. Yeah, we approved the wording, the last meeting.
yep.
Okay, the Dorset Park mural honoring Coach Rudy Royal. There's a handout. Guys did a nice job of laying it out, of the flyer for it. The mural is installed, the guest speakers, and we did the artist presented a oil painting to be presented to the royal family, and I have to say frankly, I found it was very disappointing because it did not look anything like the actual mural. The background was all computer-generated, and that was all dropped off the painting. It was just the three painted figures, and, if you look in your backup, he presented receipts for $268 for a canvas and some oils. He's got everything. I know things have gone up, but $58 for a canvas. But anyway, it's all done. But anyway, his total expenses came to $183, and we paid him $300. So I'm a little annoyed, but anyway. We dealt with the virtual tour guide and the QR codes. Oh, Graham,
May I-
I'm sorry.
may
Sure,
I have a
certainly,
comment about that?
Certainly.
I was there with many other members of the Public Art Committee, and I too found the actual oil painting as presented somewhat embarrassing. I, didn't really want to be associated with it because it did not look like the mural, and I just wanted to express my disappointment that the artist did that to us.
We have no photo of that? I said we
No.
have- oh, okay.
No, I think
I
Diane may have
saw
taken
it.
one.
Yeah, I saw it as well. It was literally just the three figures. It was.
Right,
it
had
wasn't
no
a complete
background
mural.
whatsoever, the
Yeah.
whole, because the background was obviously computer-generated, which we were discussing the whole time, and he just saw fit to just drop it off. So it was basically a white canvas with the softball player, the baseball player, and the basketball player. That was it. It was, the lettering was missing, it was,
It looked incomplete.
yeah. No,
Want to put it mildly.
maybe psychologically, one of the reasons I didn't get a picture of it was because I was so upset with it. But anyway, it was done as a tribute to the family, and it was presented to the family, and as I said, it didn't make us, look very good. So, okay.
Oh, Joan, can I mention something on that?
Sure.
Was this canvas presented to the council before? Did anybody see that
It
canvas?
was dropped off with Diane,
Yeah,
just
but
before
did-
the presentation.
But did Nick see it, or did?
It was dropped off the day before the park dedication at Diane's office.
So nobody had a chance to.
Nobody had a chance to see it. She dropped it off at my house on Friday, late Friday afternoon. When I looked he had it in a bag. When I looked in the bag, I almost fell over. And I brought it to the park. And, I showed it to everybody on the committee, and I think they were all, found it pretty upsetting. When you go to all the trouble and expense that we did to honor a member of the community, and the artist is supposed to, do a piece that represents that, honor, to this person, and it's incomplete, it's inferior, as I said, I was just disappointed.
I mean, couldn't the entire design that he created for the mural just have been printed on a smaller canvas to give to that could have easily.
That would have been better.
I was about to say that could have happened as well, that we could have done that.
Sure.
But,
it's easy.
but what we wanted was an original piece of art rather than something printed.
Yes.
Well, that's what we paid for.
And, as, so that we could present that as a tribute, and it was incomplete, very disappointing.
Can anything be done about it?
You could ask him to redo it,
Well,
but if
really,
he's already
if you
been
ha- If you
paid.
have to ask him to redo it, then
Yeah.
maybe we should
Well,
address that, because it.
the
if
thing
it's
is,
this
I asked to see the contract, and there's a clause in the contract where it says that I believe if So many papers, so little time. I highlighted it here. Okay, 9.4, any work or material that is found to be defective or deficient, the artist will correct it promptly after receipt of a written notice
From the city.
from the city. Well, we're basically in lieu of the city, so we could conceivably ask him to, you know, redo the image so that it reflects the mural.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
think we should.
yeah.
I'm definitely in favor of writing a letter to him.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion to that effect?
I move that the Public Art Committee, over the signature of its chairperson, write to the artist on the Rudy project to improve or replace the artwork that was presented to the family so that it more closely resembles the actual mural installation.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Biba. Discussion? I would amend the motion to say not closely resemble, but realistically resemble.
Okay.
I would,
Okay.
I would think that you might want to put a time frame in there.
Contract says he has 2 years.
Well, the thing is that it's, well, no, you know, it says timely manner, right, if it's found defective?
And we're only speaking about a canvas. I
Yeah,
mean,
promptly.
if you think about
Yeah.
the size, it's, gosh, when I think about how long I take to do a painting, it shouldn't.
Right,
take
you
me
know,
too
he'd
long.
basically just, you know, I think we've all done it, you know, just take that issue and have it printed on canvas.
Yeah.
You know, just so that the family would have an accurate representation of the actual mural.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they already have the original painting of the figures such as they are. So, you know, at least I think that, you know, we could make the gesture, even if it's, you know, digitally printed on canvas, to present them with the actual image.
It'd be like 30 days before the next meeting or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could give them a time limit because, go back and look at
Sure,
the
yeah,
contract
the
language.
contract, I'm sorry, the contract says promptly, and we have 2 years to complain about it.
Oh, to complain about it.
And I might suggest, Joan, Diane's back from vacation tomorrow, if you want to coordinate with her in case there are any
Right.
legal issues or timing or anything to get worked out,
Right.
since she was involved with this.
Right, okay.
Well, I mean, this is all digital art.
Well, if you recall, I've been kind of squawking about this since the inception because,
I mean, I'm looking at this close-up here from the March meeting.
right,
Yeah, that is, I know exactly how that happens. You take a photo and you put it in Illustrator and you ask for an auto trace, and that's what you get, particularly with text.
right.
I mean, it could have been just completely digitally generated, and maybe that's the issue here, is that maybe the artist is a digital artist and cannot really paint very well. And so you ask him for a painting, it's not really his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's not, I'm just saying that that's a
Right.
possibility. That if that's not his wheelhouse, then
Yeah.
he tried to create something that he really wasn't proficient at. That is a possibility, and that's why it turned out like it turned out. So if he is someone that is, I mean, I've had many students that can paint away on a computer because that's how their brain works, but they can't put a,
Right.
paint on canvas to save their life. So,
Well-
because that's just how their generation works, right? So if he is someone that works digitally and doesn't really paint very well, and he tried to do something because we asked him for original piece of art, and it's not really what he does, then that could be a reason why it's not living up to standard. So if he is a digital artist, then he should be able to just take that piece and print it on a canvas.
A canvas,
As
yeah.
it is, to produce something more
Well,
efficient.
that would be fine too. I hate to do coulda, shoulda, wouldas, but it would have been, had he been a digital artist and not able to do it the other way, then perhaps it would have been better had he said so,
Thank you. Yeah.
instead of just trying to do it.
I don't
because,
know if
you
that's
know,
the case, like I said, I'm
yeah,
just, I'm
neither do I,
speculating,
you know,
but-
it's-
'cause I don't know
I'm
the
just-
artist or I didn't see the original piece that you all saw, so.
Right, even if he had presented with us with what we're now asking for, with a letter saying, this recreates the mural, blah, 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 even that would have been acceptable, but, as I said, okay, so I will, thank you, Carrie, I'll talk to Diane tomorrow. Okay.
Want to vote on
Call the
that?
question.
Certainly,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Want to
Okay.
vote on that motion?
Yes. All in favor of contacting the artist to present an accurate reproduction of the Rudy mural for the presentation to the family, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, the Bahamian Sponge Hooker Project.
Have that on pause until June, remember?
Right, that's on pause until June. CRA mural project, Megan, I gather we don't have anything in the hopper on that?
Yes, per Karen Lemons, there's no submissions.
Okay. City clerk building, as you see, it's soaring into being brick by brick one of these days. Right, okay, Megan, back to you for the budget update.
Sure. Pat McNeese reported a PAC fund contribution that will be coming in from the RO plant solar panel project for $13,381.04. The projected, from the beginning of the fiscal year through May 8th, today, we have spent $15,690. So our projected balance as of today is $194,264.
Okay. And that's, the last installment on Stevens is still outstanding, right?
Yes, we have not paid for the wayfinding piece or his final
Right.
payment.
Yeah, and the small signage.
Right.
Right, okay. New business, the Mary Safford statue. I think there was some backup in your materials. We received an email from Dr. Elizabeth Coachman, who has written a book about Mary Safford. It was dated April 24th, and Dr. Coachman has written a book about Mary Safford. She was really an extraordinary individual. She was one of the founders of Tarpon Springs. She was a champion of women's rights, racial equality, and other progressive reforms. She came to Tarpon Springs in 1882 and was one of the first women physicians. She's buried here in Cycadia Cemetery, and she's really just an amazing person. So I think we should take this under consideration. And the one thing I would also like to bring up for discussion is, as we all know, statues can be problematic. So I think I'd like to discuss changing, first, whether we want to do this, and B, if we want to change the word statue to a possible alternative art form.
Okay. Can I speak to that?
Would you like to make a motion first? We usually do a motion, a second, then a discussion.
Yeah. I move that the committee consider a memorial to Dr. Mary Jane Safford to be installed on the grounds of the Safford House Museum.
Okay. Can I get a second? Eva, thank you. Now we can discuss.
I like the word memorial, that was very,
Yes.
you know.
I was
vague.
searching for the
That was very
word.
vague and specific.
Right.
Yes, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to take that project on. I am familiar with Dr. Safford's life story, and it's the sort of thing, you know, because of that familiarity, it's right in my wheelhouse to understand what an artist is going to produce. And to your concern about the long-term viability of bronze statuary and the cost of maintenance and longevity and so on, because we don't make bronze statues like Rodin did anymore. Yeah, there are a number of options I find. When I saw this was going to be on the agenda, I started doing some research. There are a
Can I just
number.
excuse you for a minute?
You may.
Okay. I'm going to do something nasty to a very beloved member of our committee. I think you have a full plate with the art boxes, and this is a huge project to take on. So Sonia, would you like to take over the art boxes?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Okay, you're off the hook. Now you're on this project, Graham.
Poor thing. I'll hand it all over to you gladly. Yeah, there are a number of things to consider. There are many companies in the U.S. these days that specialize in memorial statues, and the going price for a lost wax casting to your specification done by one of their in-house artists from photographs that you provide varies according to the size of the piece from $10,000 to $25,000,
Right.
which is very reasonable. You get an original piece. They promise not to copy it and do other things with it. Or alternatively, you can find yourself an artist who will do a similar piece, same material, same everything, for anything from $100,000 up. If you want a famous artist, you're talking, you know, anything from $500,000 up.
Right.
You know, if you want somebody with a name. There are all sorts of other possibilities. You can get synthetic materials instead of bronze. And there are people who specialize in that. There are artists that like to work that way. You can get, you know, you could have it done in wood, for goodness sake, with a chainsaw, or, you know, delicately carved with proper wood carving tools. There are all kinds of things that you can do. The prime driver seems to me to be how much you want to spend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mr. Jones, since you have taken this over, I think usually the first process we've already dealt with, which is a firm location, which would be the Safford House. Okay, and so that's done. Secondly, seems like you're already on your way with this, is to, you know, discuss various methods of creating the statue, you know, coming
Right.
coming up with some kind of ballpark budget.
Right, but
Okay.
this is where I was going with that, is that, you know, is realistically, we should be asking for something north of $25,000. The willingness of the committee to go to the Board of Commissioners and ask for, say, $100,000 would indicate one kind of approach, and for, you know, $25,000 or $30,000 would indicate a different kind of approach. So I would like to get some feedback from the committee members as to how deep their pockets are.
I had a question, just in general, given the nature of this, does the Public Art Committee or the city or anybody ever solicit grants from organizations like women physicians or anything like that for something that they might find appropriate as well? Is that something that we're allowed to do? Have we ever done it? Is it not allowed?
Well,
We
if I
are
can,
absolutely allowed to do that under the terms of the ordinance.
Okay.
right. The catch, however, is, I know a lot of people who do, give grants for different projects. But more often than not, they're restricted to 501c3s.
Oh.
So, there are, as Graham said, yes, there are grant opportunities, and we can accept them. We can take private philanthropy. If somebody from her family comes along and says, well, look, I think this is a great idea, she was grandma, whatever, we'll give you $25,000 toward the project. That's that's fantastic. But, I have a good friend who was, sort of dangling all of this grant money in front of me, and, I couldn't take advantage of it because it had to be a 501c3.
Okay.
A lot of charities and philanthropies will make that specification.
Okay. I wonder if women's associations, you did. I don't know. I was just wondering as a point in case, given her, history, it was very impressive.
It's very likely,
And,
yeah.
we're also talking about a statue for the Bahamian hookers, and we're kind of going to run into the same questions about, funding and how much and all that kind of stuff. I was just curious if we could
Right.
approach, if we had the ability to accept and approach organizations that might,
Right.
increase the funding that we have available.
Yeah, I think in short, the answer to that is yes, as long as they understand that they don't receive any tax benefit.
Because we're not a nonprofit.
Right, yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
usually
we're
one
a
of the.
city, so.
Yeah. That's usually one of the reasons why they will only make a contribution to a 501c3,
Gotcha.
because it's a quid pro quo.
Gotcha, for a tax write-off.
With the tax.
Got it.
tax
Yeah,
write-off.
yeah, they'd
Okay.
much rather give pre-tax dollars than post-tax.
Yeah,
Right.
right. I do it, my husband does it, I don't do it, but my husband does it all the time at work, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for the aside, I was
No,
just
I
curious
mean,
about that.
I
No,
send
it's
me
a good
forth
question.
to look for, wealthy
Go find free
philanthropists to write
money.
checks.
Yeah, for philanthropists who don't care about taxes, it'd be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, somebody just gave the Leaper Ratner $1 million.
Yes.
Well, there was that billionaire who was trying to give away all his money. I mean, I would spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
So,
also the Nigerian prince. Do you remember that thing from years ago?
Right.
so I was wondering if anyone on the committee has anything to say about a number.
Well, first, as I said, I'm very, very tired today. Did we even approve doing this project?
It's,
We're still in discussion.
We're still in
Right, okay,
discussion.
okay, fine,
I'll
all
discuss
right.
anything yet, so.
So do we have a kind of a historical reference of what we have spent in the past on sculptures and like what is typical?
We have, the only representational sculptures we have are the naiads and the story time, which were purchased. They weren't commissioned.
Okay.
Okay. A former member of the Public Art Committee had an inn with a gallery, I think it was in Miami, and we were able to get a very good purchase price.
Do you remember what those prices were?
I think the 5 pieces came to $187,000,
Okay.
which was an absolute bargain,
Yeah, for 5 pieces, yeah.
but,
Okay.
So can I ask some questions,
all right, absolutely.
since we're bouncing around instead of going down the line?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I think to give a dollar amount, there has to be some reference to what, now, Graham, you said you've done some looking into.
Preliminary, yeah.
Some preliminary, right, of, this option, that option. I think without, probably most of us are visual people since we're on an art committee. Like, I need to know what does 10 grand get me, and what does 50 grand get me, and what does 100 grand get me before I can give you a number, right?
Fine, I'm more than willing to come back next month.
Right, of course, that's fine. I don't
With
think we're in any hurry.
a spreadsheet of what you can get for what.
Right, and visual
With
spreadsheet.
photos.
Right.
With pictures. I need pictures.
Right.
Okay,
And you mentioned wax. It's, I mean, it was
lost wax.
Lost wax.
Yeah.
That's a
that?
traditional method for doing bronze statues.
Okay.
You create a small, you create something this big, and you make a wax mold of it, and somehow they,
And somehow
he's
they.
nodding, he's a metal
Embiggen?
worker.
You do the plaster
Okay,
first, and then,
okay.
there's the.
I just don't, I wasn't
I didn't mean
familiar
to
with
cut
that.
in on you.
Oh, no, but
You've probably, you probably called the place in Orlando, or just outside of,
Yeah.
which is a very nice foundry. I've been there. And all, with some ideas for projects and all, and they'll work, they have in-house artists, and they'll do, and if you're an artist, you can go in there and they'll work with you either way.
Right.
And all, and I looked at the quality of their work there, and it was, it's been probably 10 years since I was there, but it was a very high standard,
Right.
of work. But the owner took me through the entire, they'll, there, and you tell them who you are, and they'll take you on a tour and show you exactly how.
It's
how
fascinating.
they
I went
do
to
it.
one
And
of,
some of the
yeah,
pieces are
up north.
quite large,
Yeah.
and stuff that go into, that I saw were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that
Right.
they were doing, but,
Yeah, a
it's
friend of mine did a
definitely
huge
good option,
yeah.
because unless, there have to be these kinds of places unless you're doing all this on your own. And then what a lot of artists do is have it cast and done outside, like in South America.
Right.
Or somewhere in Brazil, or somewhere else, have
Right.
the work done and then shipped back.
But I like the idea of using a local foundry, or as near local as we can get.
Well, Florida's,
because-
He's right there in Orlando,
Right.
and,
Okay. Now I understand.
There
what
could
you
be a
meant,
lot
'cause
of
I'm like,
communication.
Wax, Florida, what?
Yes,
and,
Florida wax treatment,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, also, I know it sounds odd, but I also have another friend who's a pretty well-known, good-selling sculptor. She shows at Art Basel, and one of her pieces was in a Rihanna commercial. And people want to buy her work, and they can't afford the marble, so she reproduces them using 3D printing.
Yeah.
So that's.
I've seen lots of resin, now, smaller, but, there's plaster, and then there's resin, and there's all kinds
yeah.
of sassy materials
Yes, and
these days.
you can use metal sintering in a 3D printer too, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And they make tennis shoes with 3D printers these days. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, a friend of mine had her skull replaced using 3D printer.
That's amazing.
They removed a portion of her skull, and they copied it in plastic and put it back. Well,
Wild.
bizarre.
Wow.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, and a discussion. I think we'll call the
Call the
question.
question?
Yes. I think for this one, since it's a pretty big deal, Megan, you want to do a roll call vote?
Oh, what are we voting on?
Doing this
Bringing us
Mary
research
Stafford.
back? Okay, oh, about, okay,
We're going to accept.
Right, consideration of doing this project.
okay.
Okay.
Move for the committee to consider a memorial to Dr. Mary Jane Safford to be installed on the grounds of the Safford House Museum. Mr. Toth,
Yes.
Ms. Christopoulos,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. McGrath,
Yes.
Chair Jennings.
Yes. Okay. And I will also entertain a motion to make Graham the chair of this committee and responsible for researching costs, methods, and putting together a selection panel. So,
Does something like this need a selection panel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got,
there's-
you've got to take it to that next step. It's, we did that with the Black Heritage Project.
No, I
Whenever you've
know,
got, yeah,
but
no,
I see
you
that
need
it's more
people that
straightforward.
are,
Okay.
truly experts in, a number of different fields.
I have to come back to the committee next month with a range of options, including how much money we're prepared to spend
Right.
for different options. And once the committee has chosen an option or rejected all of them, then I would go and form a committee and bring that back the following month, right? And once that committee is formed and approved, then I would ask the Board of Commissioners for the approval to go ahead at that point,
Right,
Yeah,
right? It's kind of intricate, but
yes.
that's what I wanted to ask, I was just that we needed to present this to the Board of Commissioners, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do projects, like we did the Rudy mural, we can do projects under $15,000 without getting commission approval.
Okay, so it's everything over 15,000?
If it's
Okay.
$15,001, the Board of Commissioners have to approve it.
Okay,
And that's in the ordinance.
And historically, they don't approve things unless they have lots of information.
Right.
So it's in our own interest to
give it
get
time.
everything together first before asking, otherwise they
Yes.
just send it back and say,
Yeah.
get more information.
Yeah,
Right, it's got to be presented to them as pretty much a done deal,
Yeah.
except, and then you'd want to go do a call to artists and all that other fun stuff.
yeah.
Right.
As I said, the other one took 4 years. I don't think this will take that long.
I hope
but
not.
I want to live to see this.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I know the Bahamian Sponger has been put on hold until June,
Right.
but the Mary Safford project was second to that, but now the Mary Safford project has
Because
stepped
there's a
in front of it.
location.
Yeah. because
There's a
it's
firm
location.
location.
Yeah, I understand that
Yeah.
part. But
Yeah, that's why.
as far as the movement, I like to see, I'm entertained by the movement of this project, how fast it came together. That's perfect. That's what I would have liked to see for the Rudy project. Not the Rudy project, but the Bahamian, but I know Biba has been very tied up. So now, being that the Mary Safford project has been stepped up in front of it, will the Bahamian project be presented to the board? Or can it be budget-wise presented to the board when you do the Mary Safford project? So
Well,
it won't, you
you'd have
won't
to
have
have all
to
the.
do 6 months
you'd have
to a
have
year
all the-
later.
No, you have to have all your ducks in a row, like he has to have
Right.
all the ducks in a row.
Yeah.
You
Have to
come
have a
up with-
location.
Right, yeah. The
Yeah.
biggest issue with the sponge hooker statue is the location.
I understand that part.
Right.
But that can be rectified by when Biba get to the part with the panel and they start doing a little in detail work as to study where it can go. So that's
Right.
down the line, but I'm concerned about it being part of the budget when you put Mary Safford on the table. Because if you don't put it on the table at the same
The same
time.
thing, is that, we want to make sure that we're leaving aside the budget for the other as well mentally, when, and I had that on my mind already.
This is, may I speak to that?
Yeah, of course.
This is entirely up to the next meeting of the Public Art Committee. When I come back with my range of proposals that you can accept or reject or modify as to your heart's content, then that is the point at which you decide how much money you want to allocate to that particular project versus money that you want to reserve for other projects. Okay?
Right, and then that's what you have to get approved by the commission.
Right.
Yeah.
And frankly, some of Graham's research might help the other project.
Yeah, you can piggyback off what he's doing.
Gonna do a lot of the legwork.
Well, yes,
Materials
because,
and whatnot.
bronzes are bronzes.
Right.
So that actually might,
You'll save Biba some work on the materials.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll just wait until she's done.
there you go.
Too late.
Too late. Okay, I think everybody has their homework assignments, and I'd have to check with Diane, but even with Sunshine, I don't think there's any problem with handing you off the stuff about the process for selecting the illuminated art boxes. But Megan, could you just check with her?
Yes.
So, it's informational exchange, it's not something,
Right.
we vote on the individual selections,
I mean,
but.
the easiest way to go around that is Graham sends it to Diane, Diane sends it to
Right.
Sonia. There's no,
Right,
What it is a series of files, some historical information, a how-to, and some contact information. And whether I send that first to Diane and then she sends it to Sonia, or
that
or
might be the easiest thing to do,
or I
frankly.
stick it on a thumb drive and I walk it down to the Heritage Museum, and Diane
Gives it, I
gives it
can walk there as
to
well and pick.
Sonia, you know, it really
Yeah, I
doesn't
think, I
make
think
any
it's
difference.
cleaner if everything goes through Diane. All
I do too,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
right, Dawn, you're up.
Did you have some?
Are we in new business? I lost where we were
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
I lost where we're at.
Yeah. Okay, we're next with the mural mosaic project. Dawn, look in your backup.
Okay, yeah. So I saw this thing on Facebook. It looked really fun and cool, and I love these kind of, I remember, just a little bit of context, but I remember a long, long time ago, I babysat at this house that had this picture, and it was Abraham Lincoln's head, but it was made up of much smaller pictures. It's by
It's probably Dali.
Dali.
Dali, right. And it always fascinated me. So that when I saw this project come up, it kind of took me back there. And so I actually signed up to do a tile. And I can show you that what I got. And so I got this little packet, and it came through Canada. But it's a little canvas, and they have here your color palette. And they say, you know, this needs to be most of the colors, and this needs to be your highlight colors. And they give you the paint and the paintbrushes, a little tiny easel. It's super cute. And what it is it goes into a large mural like this.
Oh, cool.
So they put together, that's why they tell you what the colors need to be, like predominantly. And they are individually by an artist put together into a mural. And it's done digitally. So when I get this done, you can see on this side, I put it there, and I take a picture and I send it to them. So I get to keep that. But then they sent me an email saying, hey, we're looking for places to put these murals. So if you want to be considered, and me being, ask forgiveness rather than permission, I went ahead and sent a thing saying, hey, I'm on the Public Art Committee. I think it would be great for Tarpon Springs, blah, blah, blah. Now, I haven't heard back from them, but I wanted to preempt that because things move fairly quickly. And you can see, I gave you this printout just showing some of the, logistics of it. One of the things that I was excited about was the 50 tile kits that we get for participants. So I thought that it would be a really neat way to get the community involved in doing this as well. So you can paint anything you want. Now, it has to be approved by, the people putting it together, but you can paint any subject matter you want. So if we gave, 50 participants and said, hey, paint something of Tarpon Springs, and we had it here, I thought it would be really neat. So at this
I'm looking at
point,
Carrie. This almost sounds like a library project.
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's something, I don't know how
I
he
think it's
does
a
it,
great
but
idea.
it's so cool. I'm gonna pass around, and it's small, and you can look it up online, but, you can take a look first, but that's a very small picture of ones that have been done in the past, and it's also on your printout. Like,
Right.
this is, this little
What
picture,
the large mural looks like?
it's already been decided. It's that.
They do it.
It's
Oh, it's that.
America.
Look, it's all these little.
It's
No, I understand
America.
that. I'm just saying, could
Yeah.
we send it in a photo that we would want muralized?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a general celebrating America kind of thing. And it's just a way for us to, have a community involvement kind of, and worldwide. Like they, at the bottom of the thing that is, or middle, it says that they have a small celebratory moment to unveil the mural. It's attended by mural participants and the media. Could be some really good, publicity for public art in general in Tarpon Springs. And, different people who have tiles in it will want to come and visit. I'm not sure exactly how many tiles, but it looks like a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, at this point, like I said, I haven't heard back from them. I just wanted to put this in front of the committee and
Interesting.
see if we are on the short list, is this something that we would be interested in doing? Our cost would be the installation. We wouldn't have to, they're going to provide a large thing, and we would pay for the installation, and it could be however little or much as we want. It says in here, if you decide you want to put a frame around it or other enhancements around it,
Right.
then you can. The other restriction is that has to be in place for 2 years. minimum 2 years. It could be moved after 2 years.
Unusual, yeah.
Yeah, and they said it could last 10 years. It's made to last 10 years, although a lot of them last more, and not a east-facing, south-facing, not a south-facing. So there's very few restrictions. There's also some timeframe stuff, but I didn't see anything that would preclude us from doing it. So I was just wanting to kind of get it in front of the committee, since I did already say, hey, we're interested. And it's entirely possible we won't even be on the short list. You know, there may be a lot more, you know, famous places or whatever. But in case we are, I wanted to have it in front of the committee and see if it's something maybe we could do you know, a vote on if we would be interested if we're shortlisted. I don't know if that's too iffy for a motion or whatever, but
Yeah.
wanted to put it out there, and I think it's really kind of neat.
Okay. Motion to consider?
Yeah, a motion to consider the mural mosaic.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sonia. Now a discussion?
May I
Sure.
kick it off? Yeah. First of all, Nick needs a new project now that the Rudy thing is done. And Biba has successfully delayed implementation of hers.
What's your point, Graham?
I think it'd be kind of fun to find a city-owned wall where we could whack a 12-foot by 24-foot mural like this, for you know, some Tarpon Springs related thing, you know, that wouldn't cost us $650,000 to buy a Christopher Still to put there.
Right. Well, long ago and far away in the distant past, we had a lot of projects that sort of died on the vine, and they were all kinds of different walls on buildings on Sunset Beach. And there was even talk, and again, it never made it to fruition, the backdrop of the gazebo.
What about behind, you know, at the tennis courts at Craig Park where you have that wall where you practice against?
Right.
What's on the other side of that wall? That might look nice there,
Right.
with all the trees and things, and
Right.
have something like that there.
There's some trees in front of it. They're at the wall. I'm very familiar with the tennis wall and all, but I never really thought about that. And, you know, the stability of that wall's very old. You know, I'm just wondering how tile would adhere, you know, to that, because it's got plaster.
It's
and you
not
can
gonna be
see.
tile.
It's not a tile,
not
they're
gonna
not
be tile.
tiles.
Oh,
No, it's going to
just
be,
like the Chris Still
Right,
and
just
the
like-
Rudy project.
Like the Rudy
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I'm not really following.
Okay,
Right, if you
the
look,
project.
it's really tiny, but if you look at it, you could see all the little
I
blocks.
see blocks, yes.
yeah,
So what happens is each artist does one of those little blocks, and they're put together.
but they send in a digital,
It's all done digitally.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then
so it's
you're
not an
sent-
actual
So each
physical
one of those
tile.
bags has a palette.
Yeah.
right?
See, this is
So
the
if you need,
size,
right,
6 by 6.
right.
Yeah, and it says on the thing, if you look at the fourth bullet point for the handout, it says the mural produced with vinyl on aluminum composite and UV coated.
I read
So
that
it's
and I
gonna
was
be-
trying to figure out what they meant by that, but
What are they gonna
because
do
then we
with
were
it?
talking about tiles and I'm looking at tiles. and
Yeah.
I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, so, but yeah, when I get done, I send in a high-res digital image of my tile, and everybody who works on it sends in a high-res digital, and the artist, you know, moves them around and places them how they're going to fit in the mural to make the ultimate big picture. And then once that's done, then they produce it on the big composite one and send it to you, and then we would be responsible for installation costs,
Right.
which is affixing a big panel to
These
the,
are a very large panel, I guess.
Yeah.
12 by 24, yeah, or 10 by 20.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a decent size.
yeah. Well, shall we table this until the next meeting and, maybe come up with some locations? Are we on a
Well, I mean,
time rush
first
with
of all,
this?
why don't we wait and get an email back that we would be considered?
Okay.
Because otherwise, why are we wasting our time looking for?
Right. Well, and all I wanted to know was if I, between now and the next meeting, if I get an email back saying, yeah, you're on the short list, here's the
Okay.
additional information we need, am I able to respond to that? Is that something we're interested in? Because I don't want to waste anybody's time if we get it, it's not something we're interested in. And again, I don't think we should have to worry about a location until we are on the short list, which may never happen. I just wanted to have the authority to move forward if we're selected. It's
Yeah,
very
I
iffy,
think-
I know, but.
Right, no, I think, it's a simple email, you can follow up on it and, bring it to the next meeting and
Okay.
we'll table it until then.
Okay.
Until you hear,
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so, staff comments?
We'll have new business.
Oh, no, this is it. New business.
Yeah, we did new business.
Yeah, this was new business.
Okay, so I can make my comment now?
Not yet.
First to staff.
Here we go.
First is staff.
The final weekend of Always the Bridesmaid at the Cultural Center is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I hope all you mothers have a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Okay, committee comments? Anybody? Anybody?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more.
Oh,
Please support Joan at the BOC meeting on May
25th?
25th, when she presents the PAC annual report.
No tomatoes, please. Although I am very good at getting food stains out of my clothes, being a pro at it. Okay, committee, anybody? Katie?
Yeah, I do. That May 25th is when you're going to be downstairs. Okay, I'm going to put it on my calendar. I attended a Parks and Rec meeting last month, and it was the tail end of last month in our meeting, but I think it kind of got overlooked. The Parks and Rec is talking about doing a mural. They want to do a mural for the side of the building. So I was asking about us, how do y'all feel about doing that as a project? But I just noticed one of the board members in the house, so maybe at public comment, they
Okay,
can chat
okay,
about it.
all right, excellent,
I also had a question.
sure.
I have come across a couple of artists that, I want to see about maybe proposing some projects, and I printed out the form for the over $1,000.
Right.
Is that the information that I would need from them, or
Right.
just give it to them and say, hey? Okay, perfect, and that's all I would need.
And again, if you have any questions, go ask Diane or
Diane?
Megan. Yeah, everything
Gotcha.
goes through them.
Perfect, awesome, thank you.
Okay.
Can I
Juliana?
interrupt?
What?
It's, the BOC meeting is Tuesday, May 28th.
May 28th, okay,
thank you.
sorry, okay.
28th, okay.
Ooh, got 3 more days. Okay, Juliana, do you want to say anything?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
Okay. We still need you at the lectern with your, okay. Okay, we have, as you know, 4-minute limit.
Yes, ma'am. I can do that.
Not a girl.
Hello, good evening. I have several questions I have.
Juliana, just for routine, could you just
Oh.
state your name and address? I'm sorry.
Juliana Day, 413 East Oakwood Street, Topping Springs, Florida.
Thank you.
Okay, I have, the mural, one thing I want to comment on the mural at the Union Academy Family Center is the ground under. I don't know if you all have anything to do with the ground around it. Okay, so that's a city issue?
Public Works.
Public work issue, okay.
I know it's on their, landscaping is on their agenda.
Uh-huh.
So I don't believe it's done yet, but I have been in touch with City Manager LaCouris, and they have a lot of nice plans for fixing up all of the landscaping and the grounds around it.
Okay. Also, the fence itself, the mural itself, is there, I know the slacks in it. Is there anything, because some of the pictures are cut off. One is, he put a new picture of a person on there, and he is cut in half. So it's hard to figure out who he is, because he got
That's
no
like an
middle
artist.
face. He just got arms and
Right, it's kind of an
legs.
artist's prerogative. I don't know what to
Really?
tell you, yeah,
kind of scary.
yeah.
Okay.
Are you just wanting to know who it is, or you're saying that
It's
you
scary.
don't like the way, oh, okay.
Okay.
Because he's chopped up?
Yeah, because he chopped up.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Okay. Just like you say with the other picture, it's like,
Okay.
Okay. Another thing I want to, I like the tile thing.
Yeah.
I was writing down 3 places where I can get children to do it.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. I did something like that.
Hi in our midst.
I did something, Joan, like this at the CAP Center when I used to work there.
Cool.
I brought art to the children's, and I brought it in, they call space art. That's where I take little ribbons and wrap around little canvases, big canvases, little canvas, and they just paint. And when they moved the tape, they were surprised.
Oh, wow.
Anything that encourages kids
I
to do
know.
art, it's so nice.
It was so nice
Yeah.
for them to want, and they wanted to do it over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay. My next thing is the art box. Sonia, the art boxes. I would like to figure out where the boxes are going to be at. If I know in your meetings you go put a location and everything.
They're all on the sponge docks.
Oh, all on those boxes on the sponge docks. Okay. But I thought in another meeting, earlier meeting, we talked about the boxes around the community. Is that
Oh,
was
the
with
signal
Don?
boxes. I'll
Yes.
bet she's
The
thinking
signal
about the
boxes.
signal boxes.
Oh, the signal boxes. That's what they
Yes.
call. Okay.
Yes.
That's clarification of it. Thank you.
Yes, and that is something that, now that the QR code thing is pretty much settled, that I'm gonna be focusing on is the
Okay.
signal boxes.
I can
Good,
tell,
thank you.
Juliana, I can tell you, as we all know, everything changes, but we
Right.
looked at it, over the years, we looked at it several times. And the problem is, each one of those boxes is controlled by a different entity.
Right, I know.
So it's like, Duke may say yes, somebody, the thing that controls the traffic signals may say no. So it's not as easy as it sounds.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you
The,
for
the
bringing
first
it
thing
up.
I have to do is get the locations of all the boxes in Tarpon Springs and who owns them. And I'm gonna be working with the city on that. So it's gonna be a process, but I think because I've been seeing it more and more all around
I have too,
Pinellas
yes.
County, I think it's gotten a lot more traction than it had in the past. So
Right, and
hopefully,
a lot of them were done by the county.
yeah.
And I noticed one over by Circle K, the gas station. They did that one. I wonder who done that one.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, the Pinellas County did several. There's one at Klosterman and Alt 19, just on the other side. And that was one of them. They did several along the trail area and,
4 minutes has passed.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
I wasn't talking. They was talking.
I know. Sorry. I think I'm not supposed to talk to you, but.
Sir, do you have any comments? If you could give your name and address.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zebby D. Atkinson IV. My address is 671 East Orange Street. I was asked to be on a a board, a commission or something like that to talk about the black sponger, but I hadn't heard from anybody yet, and I didn't know if I needed to give a drop of blood or what else needed to be done. So
Firstborn,
he eats a lot. I don't know if you want him.
I don't think Beaver's made the selections yet for the panel. It's still in very early stages.
Okay.
Okay, but thanks for your
So
interest.
we'll reach out when we get to that point.
Okay,
We've
no problem.
We've tabled it until I'm done with my other work, and then I'll get to actually assembling the committee, so.
Yeah, she's got a lot of,
yeah,
just like we talked about this, there's a lot of groundwork that has to be done before we can even consider it, so.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you for coming, though.
Yeah, you may have most of the summer off, so relax. Okay, anything else? Anybody? Announcements? Nope. Okay, I'm adjourning the meeting at 3:23 PM, and the next meeting is Wednesday, June 12th at 2:00. Thank you.